salary increase. This is one topic which excites all of us. We all want to get good salary increases every year. But how do we get those increases? Is there a way through which you can influence your boss into giving good salary increase to you every year? Is there something which can be planned in advance? Because normally what happens is we wait for our annual appraisals to happen, and then through that appraisal process, our boss, our company, they would decide the kind of increase that we would get. But what I have always seen that there is a better way to really ensure that you don't wait till the last moment. You start influencing the process much earlier so that you end up getting good salary increase. You can actually demand good salary increase from your boss. So in this video, I'm going to analyze this whole process through which you can ensure that at the end of the year, you get a good salary increase. Your boss is actually forced to give you a good salary increase, and you keep growing your income every year. So watch this video till the end, and it'll really help you in planning out, in ensuring that you get a comprehensive good salary increase year on year. Hi, my name is Anjani Kuumar and welcome to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel already, do consider subscribing it because I keep posting some very powerful and useful videos on this channel, and these videos can really help you in your career growth. So let's start this video. Now, in my corporate career, I have always seen that people definitely try to perform well on the job, and they expect that by performing well on the job, they would be handed over a very good, handsome salary increase at the end of the year. Now, that's the normal process and that happens with everybody. But I have also seen that this behavior itself is not sufficient for you to get a good salary increase every year. There's something more that also you need to do. So what is that more that we need to do to ensure that our salary increase is handsome and comprehensive? So let's try to understand what happens in normal course and how the corporates operate, how your bosses look at your performance. So in the beginning of the year, whichever cycle that you are following, either it's a calendar year cycle or a financial year cycle, you are given certain targets. And these are called KRAs, OKRs. There are various terms which are used for these targets. So once these targets are finalized, you're supposed to deliver on those targets during the year. And you ensure that all those targets are met. But what is also to be understood and what is very important for you to figure out, that if you meet those targets, you are at a meets expectation level, and which gives you a decent increase, but this is not a comprehensive increase. So to get a good increase, you need to actually exceed those targets, or you need to become an outstanding performer, which can give you a really good increase. But all this happens within the given framework of the organization, because all those people who meet their target, they are given a certain percentage of increment at the end of the year by the organization, by their bosses. And all the people who exceed their targets or who are outstanding in their jobs, they are given a certain percentage increase as per the rules of the organization, and your boss typically communicates you what is that percentage. Now, this is the normal course through which every organization operates. Now, we are talking about getting something more than that, because what comes to you as a part of the normal process, that is good, and that you should definitely get. You should definitely try to exceed your target. You should definitely try to give an outstanding performance so that your increases are substantial and they are good than the average increase that the market is handing out to performers. Now, on top of that, if you want to earn something more, you will have to do something more. You will have to plan it out. And that is what I'm going to analyze. And that is what I typically coach people who actually work with me. And I really help them earn more than what typically performers at their levels get in the organization. And this process actually starts much in advance rather than waiting till the end of the year when you are actually handed over those increases. And then whether you are happy, not happy, it does not matter, because then the process is closed there itself. So through this process, through this structured approach, what I ensure is that people who work with me, they are able to demand much more from their bosses than what they would have normally got in the normal course. So look at these tips which I'm going to give you in this video, through which you can actually ensure that you can demand a much higher salary increase from your boss. So let's start from the beginning of the year when your goals are getting set. So like anybody else in the organization, you would work with your boss to finalize the goals, your KRAs, OKRs, whatever you are calling them. And then you finalize some of these key result areas that you need to achieve. And that is a normal process which the organization would follow. You also will have to go through that process. That process will ultimately help you in earning whatever the average increments which are given by the organization at the level of performance that you display. Now let's go a little above that percentage and see how you can influence your boss into giving you more than what everybody else is giving. What I typically tell people is, once you are into the performance year, you have spent 3 months or 6 months into the year, then you need to request your boss for a conversation around your performance. Now, this request typically gets accepted by the bosses because they also would like to give you feedback. And even if it's not a normal practice in your organization to have a quarterly or half-yearly performance conversation, you must ensure that you request your boss to give you some time to have this conversation, because this conversation is a very integral part of our whole plan to ask for a higher salary increase from your boss. So you must ensure that once you are in the performance year and anytime between 3 to 6 months, you ask for this conversation. Now, what you are going to do this in this conversation, how you are going to plan for it. That is our next step. Let's talk about that. You have to plan 2 things before you get into this performance conversation. One, you have to ensure that you have thoroughly prepared your performance with respect to your key result areas, OKRs, whatever your organization calls it. So whatever targets have been given to you, you must have done much better than them during this period. So you go with a very positive outlook, saying you are overachieving on those targets. So that's the first part of the conversation, where you need to have sufficient data to present it in front of your boss. So this is with respect to what you are doing currently. The second thing that you need to prepare about is identifying one problem area which your boss is facing with respect to performance of his or her department. That's very critical, because what is related to your performance, that definitely you will prepare, you will deliver, and you will talk about it. But apart from that, you must identify at least 1 or even 2 problem areas which your boss is facing. And in the corporate world, there are enough problem areas for bosses to actually get busy with. So you need to very clearly spend some time in identifying these 1 or 2 areas where actually your boss needs help. And once you go into these conversations, there are 2 parts in which this conversation has to be planned. In the first part, you should talk about your performance with respect to your KRAs, your goals, and how you are achieving them. So maybe spend 5, 7, 10 minutes talking about that, and ask for feedback from your boss, and your boss would also be able to give you some feedback around that. But the second part of the conversation is very important. And once you have actually created a positive atmosphere in the conversation by presenting your overachievement around your targets, then you need to move towards the second part of this conversation, where you need to pick up these 1 or 2 problem areas that your boss is facing. And first, you establish that these are the real problem areas for him or her. And that is very easy, because if it's a genuine problem area that you have identified, your boss would clearly agree with that. And then you have to offer help. You have to offer help to your boss in solving that problem area, that problem for him or her. That offer has to be done in a very seamless manner, in a very natural way, where you must offer, saying that, would you mind if I help you solving this problem? Because whatever I am already doing, that I am delivering, I am overachieving my targets. And along with that, I can also help you, or I can also contribute in solving these one or two problem areas for you. And let me tell you very clearly that no boss would ever say no to this offer. So it's an easy conversation that you can have with your boss, where first you talk about your achievements, your overachievements around your KRAs and results, and then offer to help in one or two problem areas that your boss is facing. And your objective should be that towards the end, you get an affirmative reply from your boss where he or she agrees to take help from you with respect to that problem area. It could be a project, it could be anything. It could be an extension of what you are already doing, or it could be something with respect to one of your peers who is not able to perform well. Whatever it is. One, you have to identify it very clearly before getting into this conversation. And two, once you are in the conversation, then you have to ensure that you get a confirmation from your boss that where he agrees or she agrees to take help from you in solving that problem. So that's why this conversation is very important, and you have to achieve the goal that we have set out for ourselves from this conversation, where you have to get a confirmation from your boss that he or she is okay you helping in that particular problem area. Now, having achieved that confirmation from your boss, one thing you have to keep in mind that you should not be asking anything in return at that point in time. It's just about getting a confirmation from your boss. That's it. And when you come out, then you start working on that particular problem area, and whatever time frame it takes, 3 months, 6 months, you have to ensure that you solve this problem for your boss. And while you are solving this problem for your boss, you have to keep updating him or her of the progress every 2 weeks. That's very important, because he or she should know that additional effort which is going into solving this problem and which you are leading. That's extremely critical, because you have to ensure that your communication is consistent, your communication is regular, and you're establishing this point in front of your boss that with your help, he or she is solving the problem, which in normal course, you were not required to do anything about it. You were not supposed to get involved in solving that problem. And this is something which you are doing in addition to your normal responsibilities, on top of your normal targets which have been given to you. So that fact has to get established over a period of time, and typically in a period of 3 to 4 months, you have to ensure that you solve this problem for your boss. Now, by the time you would have solved this problem for your boss, you would realize that you would be approaching the appraisal process, the beginning of the appraisal process, the annual appraisal process. And that's a very good time to actually communicate to your boss clearly that you have to solve this problem for him or her, and keep reminding him or her that this is in addition to whatever else that you have done. You have to also ensure that you must overachieve on your targets, whatever KRAs that were given to you. And on top of that, you have solved 1 or 2 problems for your boss, and then you need to schedule a second performance conversation. Either it could be a part of your normal appraisal process, or even if that appraisal process conversation is not happening, you on your own should actually go and schedule this conversation, where you have to very clearly tell your boss that this is something which you have done on top of your normal responsibilities, and hope that he or she remembers while deciding your final increment. By the time when he or she is actually taking a call on the final percentages that are to be given to people, and he or she would actually keep in mind that your extra efforts, your ability to solve this problem beyond your normal work should get rewarded in a certain way, which is beyond what would be given to everybody else in the team. That conversation also has to be put across very clearly, And since you have already done well on your normal targets, you have solved a problem for him or her, this conversation, let me tell you, is very easy. It's not very difficult because bosses actually like to give more increases to people who solve problems for them, who actually help them look good in front of the management. And you have actually displayed that behavior. You have supported your boss. You have made him or her look good in front of the management. And that is why no boss would ever have a problem in giving you more increase compared to everybody else in the team. So as you would have realized, by analyzing this whole process, by planning out the whole process over a period of 6 to 9 months, we are trying to influence the final decision-making process with respect to your salary increase, your salary increment. So it's not about waiting till the end of the appraisal cycle and then asking for a raise. You must ask for a raise from your boss by first displaying that you have added much more value to the organization, to his KRAs or to her KRAs, and that is how you deserve to get something more than everybody else. So first you have to deliver and then you have to demand. It's not about just sitting with your own KRAs, over-delivering them, and then expecting that you will be given a good salary increase. Yes, that salary increase would also be good, but to get much more than that, to demand a higher increase from your boss, you must plan out this whole process. You must solve an additional problem for your boss, and that's how you will be able to demand a much higher salary increase, and your boss will be much more happy to give it back to you consistently, because as I said earlier, bosses don't mind giving good increases to people who help them look good, who help them achieve their targets. So by doing this, by solving a problem for your boss, you have put yourself in that category of people who are actually helping their bosses, and then you have every right to demand a higher salary increase. And this is the right method to demand a higher salary increase from your bosses. Don't go to your boss asking for a salary increase without solving a problem for him or her. This is the mistake that we do all the time. We expect that by just doing our normal KRAs or by just overachieving some of our normal KRAs, we have a right to demand a higher salary increase. No, you have to do something on top of that. You have to solve one or two more problems, and then you get this right to demand a higher salary increase. So go ahead, plan out this whole process in your next appraisal cycle, and you will see some amazing results for yourself. And do share your experiences with me also once you are actually able to demand a higher salary increase from your boss. So hope you have enjoyed this video. You would have learned something new from this. And if you have liked this, do give it a thumbs up. Do share it with your family and friends, your colleagues, everybody else, so that they also get benefited by these inputs. And if you have any thoughts, any ideas, put them in the comment section below and I'll answer them personally. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, thank you very much.